This storytime animator has been missing for over 2 years. Not only has he been missing, but he's actually one of the best storytime animators ever, so we care that he's gone. TimTom! This guy has not posted a video in 2 years. And that's just sick. I have only looked at his channel twice before, but he is honestly one of the best storytime animators of all time. TimTom, I will pay your ransom. I will break you out of wherever you're being held captive. Or if you're just enjoying your life, that's fine. But I can't wait any longer. So instead, we are going to watch some of his biggest slapperinos of all time. Making friends!
AI wrote this cartoon.
My embarrassing fashion choices!
Learning to hack as a kid.
Procrastination!
Man, this is gonna be quite the adventure, isn't it? If you like this video, do what you're supposed to do. And you know what that is, right? Subscribe to TimTom and me and boop like on this video if you want to see more and leave a comment. Okay, let's go! Are you ready, people? It's TimTom time. 3, 2, 1, go. What the heck? Thought that would work.
Will you be my friend?
Bro, I'm on a rock.
You gotta interact with a person before you can ask to be their friend. Usually.
Will you be my friend? Making friends can be hard. Or maybe I'm just really bad at it. Probably both. So here's a bunch of times I tried to make friends and it went horribly wrong. If I can't make friends, at least I can make content. When I was in college, I decided to do what any self-disrespecting nerd does. Join the chess club. That seemed like a good way to make some friends. After all, there's no way I'd be the most awkward person at a chess club.
Nah.
I can see it now. We'll meet every weekend to sharpen our skills. We'll go to our first tournament together. We'll destroy everyone who gets in our way, and before you know it, I'll have tons of friends to come to my birthdays, my wedding, and my first colonoscopy.
See, that's important. That's important, TimTom, because you know what? I did have a colonoscopy. No friends cheering me on. In fact, this photo right here is from right after my colonoscopy. There you go. In case you've ever seen this photo of me, I took it right after my colonoscopy. It's not really that fun getting a colonoscopy in your 20s, but you know, some people are blessed and some people are cursed.
The president, the treasurer, and the founder of the club were the only members. What? Do you have any idea how hard it was to find this place?
It's called a squad.
Look at the community board.
It's
Turns
called
out
a
three
squad.
dudes created the club just so they could put fancy titles on their resumes. Oh, that's actually a good idea. I didn't know much about chess, and I had never played in a tournament or anything, but for some reason, my little peanut brain was pretty sure that before a game, you're supposed to shake your opponent's hand. I figured if these guys went to the trouble of founding a whole club, they probably care about proper chess etiquette.
Yeah, chess etiquette.
So I sat down for my first
Me and TimTom, we share a brain cell. He said chess etiquette. Immediately, my autistic brain said chetiquette. And then he said chessiquette. Personally, I think chetiquette's better. But we both did it.
So I sat down for my first real game over the board. My palms were sweaty. Knights are weak. My bishop's ready. One guy brought some of his mom's spaghetti. I was nervous, but on the surface, I also looked super nervous. So we set up the pieces, and then I did what I thought I was supposed to.
I'm sorry for pausing it again so fast. That was a brilliant Eminem reference. This guy's a really good writer.
So we set up the pieces, and then I did what I thought I was supposed to do. I reached out to shake his hand.
Oh,
He
slapped it.
reached right back to shake my hand.
Yes!
Zero hesitation. Yes! Little Peanut was right. You do have to shake hands before a game. Nobody ever taught me proper chess etiquette.
Chess-etiquette!
Prodigies. Of course, I lost our game. He was the president of the chess club, after all. So we set the pieces back up, and I confidently extended my hand to the same guy that I was already playing against. I was so nervous about not fitting in that I didn't really notice how casual things were once I actually got there. These dudes were chillin'. Nobody was gonna hate me if I didn't follow some unspoken ritual.
He did not shake thine hand before the subsequent game of the match. Heretic!
I heard about a different, I remember when I was watching oh my gosh, look how red I look. Okay, let me fix that. Boom. That's so bright. This is what happens when you're lit by your monitor, guys. Pretty cool, huh? Anyways, I remember when I was watching the World Series a few months ago, there was something where someone broke an unwritten rule, and it's so weird how in baseball there are unwritten rules that are not official rules, but it's like you will be completely shunned if you don't follow them. I forget what the rule was, but unwritten rules are weird. Just write the rules, otherwise don't expect people to follow them, you know?
Nobody was gonna hate me if I didn't follow some unspoken ritual.
He did not shake thine hand before the subsequent game of the match. Heretic, burn him!
No. I can't remember how many games we played, but I do recall that I reached out to shake his hand before every single one.
Valid.
What? You want me to risk getting burned
Valid.
to death? I eventually came to my senses and realized that I was the only one reaching for handshakes, but I felt like I was in too deep, so I kept going.
It's cooler to be the over-respectful person than not being respectful enough. I vibe with this, TimTom. I vibe with it.
And with each game, I fell further into the abyss. The darkness was all-consuming. They must think I'm so weird. I bet they hate me. I could sense the fire growing in their eyes.
No,
When
they
the
seem
meeting was
like
over,
nerds
I
too.
bolted from the room, narrowly escaping their crushing judgment. Hey, Sib's nice. Obviously, I wasn't in too deep. I could have laughed it off and said, you know, for some reason, I thought you had to shake your opponent's hand before every game, but now I feel kind of silly. And
Yeah, just
they
bring it
probably
up.
would have been like, you know, I was gonna ask, but I didn't want you to think I didn't know what I was doing. And then we would have laughed and
It's
laughed
called
and
proper
found out
chess,
the
I can't
chess
look it
pieces were
up!
inside of us all along. We need surgery.
Yay.
I may not be very good at it, but I can't not make friends. I'm mostly human. I'm drawn to people like a moth to a flame. Except moths don't lose sleep thinking about how they embarrass themselves in front of the flame and how the flame
That's
probably never
true.
wants to see them again.
Aw.
Moths just die.
Aww.
One time I moved to a new...
Yo, by the way, this is really random. I'm a moth fan. I like moths. I think they're underappreciated animals. I guess they're insects or whatever. I don't know. But like moths are basically just butterflies that don't have like pretty colors. I think moths in their own right are quite pretty. Unless like if they like go on you and are problematic, that can be freaky because they're a little bit more like kind of aggressive than butterflies in a sense. But like I think moths are similar to butterflies. I think they're misrepresented, misunderstood.
Muffin time.
Just like little muffin bears. If you saw a rat on the street, you would not think, oh, that's an adorable little muffin bear. You would think, ah! And that's what's wrong with this world. If we are gonna get this country back on track, we need to change how we look at rats. They're just sweet muffins, right, Bingo? Am I right, my silly Bingo bear?
One time I moved to a new town and I thought volunteering at an animal shelter might be a good way to meet some people. So
Yeah,
I
valid.
applied to do that. Usually when you're being interviewed, you want them to pick you. So I spent most of the time trying to convince them that I am great with animals. I am great. But I didn't stop to check if I wanted to pick them. I could have asked a few questions, like, what exactly do you do? But no, I had to find out the hard way. They gave me the address of a pet store and told me to show up at like 9 p.m. Kind of weird, but I gave it a chance. When I got there, I was greeted by a mom in her 40s. I don't know if she had kids, she just had those vibes, you know? We walked to the back of the empty store where she showed
That's
me
offensive.
a box. Hardly tall enough for her to stand up in, let alone a slender giant like myself.
Yeah.
The front face of the box had an array of even tinier boxes.
Okay,
a grid
Bingo.
of cages, each one containing an angry cat. Frankly,
Oh,
I don't
no.
blame them. I didn't enjoy being squished into their
We
either.
don't like angry
So Mom
kitties,
vibed
do
and
we,
I squished
Bingo?
into there,
We don't like
behind the
angry
cages Where
kitties.
she described my new job. I'd need to change litter boxes, refill water in food bowls, and then let the cats out to play. She told me that all of the volunteers are scheduled so nobody else will be there at the same time as me. I'll never see another human ever again, which is not, it turns out, a great way to make friends. I mean, I guess I could try the cats.
TimTom, you gotta check the place out before you commit to it as a way to make friends, you know? Didn't you ever think about like going and seeing the place just as like a civilian and not as a potential employee first and foremost? I can't imagine applying for a place like that and not like going there before to see if you wanted to. And also, Mr. Muffin, it's very hard to talk about this stuff while you're going bananas. I told you guys, when it's bingo, it's bananas. I'm gonna take you back into the thing, Mr. Bingo. He's so good at being held. He's so good at being held. Okay.
I mean, I guess I could try the cats. So, you go to
TimTom
school
seems
around
like
here?
a cat guy.
Yeah, I just started at UCLA.
I guess technically it was a shelter, and it did contain animals, but this is not what I had in mind when I applied to volunteer at an animal shelter. Boy, have we got a deal for you! Step right up to our patented isolation chamber. For a nickel, we'll fill it with furious animals. Will I
Yay.
make any friends? No, stupid! It was really sad to see those cats stuck in such tiny cages. And I just feel like anyone who doesn't do something to help them is a terrible person. So anyway, I never went back. The best piece of advice I've ever heard about how to turn someone you know into a friend is to just treat them like you're already friends. Hey, do you want to come to my birthday party? Okay. Hey, will you come to my wedding? Sure. Hey, want to look at pictures for my colonoscopy? Boy, do I. Before you know
I
it,
mean,
you're-
that's an obvious yes. And that's how you're supposed to look at your YouTube people. I just treat you guys like you're already subscribed. So when you realize you're not subscribed, you're like, oh my gosh, I feel stupid. I've been watching this guy and I'm not subscribed. Boop. Ta-da!
Don't worry, guys. I won't call you out if you weren't subscribed yet. Just hit the button now, and I promise I won't notice.
Before you know it, you're hanging out, sending memes to each other, and oops, too late, we're already friends. One night, my girlfriend and I went over to an acquaintance's house for the first time. I met this acquaintance online a while ago, but now we were hanging out in
real
person.
life, in person.
Spooky. It went about as well as you'd expect. We met her roommates, we played categories, and everyone had a great time. But
Yay.
after I left, I had this crushing feeling. For no good reason, I just felt like I
hate
must
them.
have screwed it up. In case it wasn't clear by now, I have social anxiety. Now, I know that there's no way that I'm bad enough at categories to get ghosted.
I don't think it was because you were bad at categories. I think it was probably the way you acted while you were playing categories. I think I don't think, yeah. I mean, TimTom, if that makes you feel better, then you can tell yourself that, you know?
I wanted to know that I didn't ruin our friendship before it even began, but I have been on both sides of relationships where one person keeps asking for reassurance. Asking every once in a while is fine, but there is a point where it's too much. As they say, you'll often meet your destiny on the road you take to avoid it. But that feeling demanded to be felt. So against my better judgment, I gave her a call and said, hey, I just need like a drop of reassurance that I didn't totally ruin our friendship tonight. And after a moment of silence, she said, ever since you left, I have been talking to my roommates about how worried I am that I accidentally insulted you guys somehow and that I ruined everything.
Okay, well that went better than expected. I don't really agree with the way that TimTom phrased that. Hello, I just need a little bit of reassurance. Normal people, hi, hello, how are you? TimTom, I just need a little bit of reassurance. No, it's okay, TimTom. I am not normal either. Social cues, I don't notice all of them. The right thing to say at a given time, I don't always do it. This is a good example, but this is why you guys watch me. But I am aware enough to know that you're supposed to ease into something like that. Now, do I always do it if I'm ramped up? Not necessarily. So it's easy for me to say this right now. I'm not in his situation, but I do think start with a hi, how are you? How's it been? It was nice to see you at the thing the other day. You know, you can lead into it casually.
Folks, I do not have words to describe the metric ton of relief that washed over me in that moment. I didn't even consider that she might be worried about what I thought, and that's it. That's the story. I gave a bunch of my old video scripts to check.
Whoa, oh my goodness. This feels wrong to see. You know who this guy, yeah, I was gonna describe it to you guys, who this reminds me of, but I have the clips on my channel. I can just show you right now.
Man, are you coming? We've called like 5 times. Are you still watching that Jacksepticeye guy?
Wow.
I mean, you guys haven't spent as much time around that guy as I have, so maybe you don't see the similarities, but I do.
I gave a bunch of my old video scripts to ChatGPT to see if it could do my job and write videos for me. And most of the stories it wrote were frankly terrible, but every now and again it was somewhat amusing. So here's 2 of the stories it wrote, completely unmodified, and I'll let you be the judge. Can AI do my job?
The Great Ice Cream Heist.
I'll never forget the summer of 15. It was hot and all my friends and I wanted was ice cream. But we were all broke teenagers with no summer jobs. So what's a group of desperate sugar-craving adolescents to do? Plan the greatest ice cream heist of all time, of course. Now, in our small town, there was...
See, TimTom's not delivering these lines like he means them, you know? He doesn't feel passionate about the robot script, you know? This is one stubborn robot.
What? You think I'm a...
Now, in our small town, there was a quaint ice cream shop run by a sweet old couple, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson. Their ice cream was legendary, and it was all we could think about. We needed a plan, a foolproof way to get our hands on some of that sweet, sweet, ice-cold goodness. Enter Jake, the mastermind of our group. He devised a plan so intricate and cunning it could only be the work of a teenage sugar addict. The plan was simple. Distract Mr. and Mrs. Johnson while the rest of us grabbed as much ice cream as we could carry. So we put our plan in action. Jake, being the smooth talker he was, struck up a conversation with the Johnsons about their secret ice cream recipe. Meanwhile, the rest of us, armed with our backpacks, snuck behind the counter.
Luckily, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson were blind.
I swear, we moved like ninjas, silent and swift. We filled our bags with tubs of ice cream, our hearts pounding with adrenaline. We couldn't believe it.
Wow. ChatGPT thinks you're a criminal, TimTom. Have you committed crimes in your other videos, bro? I know you snuck out of school, but this is thievery, petty thievery. And unfortunately for you, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson hired security.
With tubs of ice cream, our hearts pounding with adrenaline. We couldn't believe it was working. We were actually gonna pull it off. Suddenly, the door to the shop swung open, and who walked in but the town sheriff? We froze, the ice cream tubs still in our hands. Jake, ever the quick thinker, gestured for us to hide.
Only a genius could think of that.
We scrambled to the storage room, our hearts now pounding for a different reason. The sheriff sauntered up to the counter, exchanging pleasantries with the Johnsons. To our horror, he ordered a large scoop of the very flavor we had just swiped. Mrs. Johnson, bless her heart, started searching for the tub, her confusion growing as she realized it was missing. Jake, sensing our imminent doom, decided it was time for a Hail Mary. He whipped out his phone, pretending to receive a call. "What's that? A robbery at the bank? I'll be right there," he proclaimed, hanging up and informing the sheriff of the urgent situation.
A robbery? Quick, call an unemployed teen.
The sheriff, not one to shirk his duty, raced out of the shop, sirens blaring. With the coast clear, we snuck back out of the storage room, ice cream in tow, and made a hasty retreat to our hideout. At our secret clubhouse, we reveled in our success, gorging ourselves on the spoils of our heist. The ice cream tasted even
at this point, like, they have had so much of this ice cream that it's like, y'all are gonna yak. If I had eaten this much ice cream, I no longer need ice cream. Ice cream is one of those things that, like, it's really good for the first, like, couple scoops, but you go, like, any past that, and you are gonna hit a wall really quickly where you're like, oh my gosh, I could not stand to eat any more of this.
Ourselves on the spoils of our heist. The ice cream tasted even sweeter, knowing we had outsmarted the law and pulled off the greatest ice cream heist in history. And as we sat there, our bellies full and our hearts content, we made a solemn pact. We would never speak of our crime, and our ice cream escapades would forever remain a secret. But now, years later, I share this tale with you, dear viewers.
Because I'm a dirty liar, apparently.
So let it be a lesson. Sometimes the sweetest victories come from the most daring and unexpected adventures.
Remember, kids, crime pays.
And if you're ever in our small town, be sure to visit Mr. and Mrs. Johnson's ice cream shop. Just make sure to pay for your...
And then it just gave up. I guess it only does about 600 words at a time. I don't know how I feel about an AI trying to frame me for crimes, but otherwise that was surprisingly good. So I just think it could have been funnier, but like, on purpose. So I told it to try again, and this is what it came up with.
Try again! An unforgettable trip to the grocery store.
Now, we've all had those awkward moments in public, right? But I'm a bit of a specialist in that field. I'm like the Picasso of awkward moments.
The Picasso.
All
right, that one didn't sound too good, actually.
Let me tell you about the time I went to the grocery store and things went south real quick. So it was a normal day. I was doing my grocery shopping like the responsible adult I am.
Nice.
Well, sort of. I was actually in the frozen pizza section trying to figure out which one had the most cheese. Anyway, there I was, minding my own business.
That sounds like TimTom.
Sneeze attack. You know, the kind that makes you look like a malfunctioning robot. Pizza, cheese, sneeze, sneeze, cheese. Now this sneeze attack was out of control, and I was grabbing tissues from my pocket.
See, TimTom, we have something that this AI will never have. Autism. This AI doesn't say cheese, sneeze, and pizza and think sneeze or cheese. You know what I'm saying?
I took a pill in Ibiza.
You can't trust AI with coming up with true brilliance like that.
Now this sneeze attack was out of control, and I was grabbing tissues from my pocket like I was pulling rabbits out of a hat. And just when I thought I'd sneezed out half my brain, it stopped. But there was an eerie silence in the store, like everyone was just waiting for the other shoe to drop. I looked around, and sure enough, I had an audience. A whole sea of judgmental eyes just staring at me. I tried to play it cool, you know, give him a little smile, and went back to my important pizza decision-making. But fate wasn't done with me yet. Oh no. I reached out to grab my pizza, and my elbow hit a stack of canned corn behind behind me. You know that feeling when time slows down and you just know disaster is about to strike? That was me, watching that stack of corn cans tumble to the ground like the world's worst game of Jenga. It was a chain reaction. The corn cans rolled all over the place, causing other people to drop their groceries. It was like a scene from a slapstick comedy. I had just turned the grocery store into a live-action version of Mario Kart. A game famous for its canned corn. Now, I couldn't leave without cleaning up the mess I'd made, right? So there I was, picking up cans, apologizing to everyone, and trying to put everything back in place.
Can you fix it?
Just when I thought I was in the clear, I dropped a jar of pickles on the floor. I mean, come on. At
Where'd
that
that
point, I
come
thought I was
from?
trapped in some sort of grocery store nightmare. So the jar shattered, pickles and glass all over the floor. It was a disaster. I must have turned 50 shades of red. But then this sweet old lady walked up to me, put her hand on my shoulder.
Better than turning 50 shades of something else. You know, if you know, you know. Sorry, that was so stupid.
Then this sweet old lady walked up to me, put her hand on my shoulder and said, "Honey, it's okay. At least you're not the one who
What is that
sneezed all over the
texture?
pizza section."
What's that
I couldn't help
disgusting
but laugh.
texture?
Sure, my ego was bruised and my face was probably redder than a ripe tomato.
It was
but you
like
know
50
what?
shades
Life's
of
too
it.
short to worry about the little things. Sometimes you've just got to embrace the awkwardness and move on. So next time you find yourself in an embarrassing situation, just remember, you're not alone. There's a whole world of awkward people out there, and I'm the unofficial president.
Yeah, so maybe that's why TimTom isn't on YouTube right now, is because he's too busy being the president of the awkward fan club or whatever. Maybe he's just too awkward to post on YouTube right now. Did you ever think about that? It happens, okay? Sometimes you're awkward and it's cringe and we hate it. In fact, let's learn a bit more about that.
When I was in elementary school, to save money, my mom and I shared socks. As you can imagine, an adult woman has slightly larger feet than a literal child. I had enough room to put both feet in there. Pull it up like a sleeping bag. Teacher says, "Timothy, what are you doing?" I say, "I'm setting up camp." Even worse, she only had crew cut, the ones that come up over your calf.
They cover the whole
I got
crew.
sensitive leg hairs, you know? My little guys need to breathe. Problem is, I'm 7 years old. I'm unemployed. My credit is
You have a
terrible.
bunch
I
of
can't
leg
afford
hair
new
at 7?
socks. So I did the only thing I could. I scrunched him down. That polyester's not going anywhere. It bunched up thick, like it was mad at me. It looked like I was smuggling a fabric store in my shoes. A full-on Joann's in my Vans. I looked like I was wearing ankle
Joann's in the
warmers.
van.
Nobody's seen those since the 80s. I was like a time traveler, getting ready to jazzercise. We also saved money by not getting too many haircuts. Back when I had hair, it was thick, strong, voluptuous.
Wait, what? He does? Okay. That's very cool of TimTom to pretend he doesn't have hair for the sake of his animation. He literally has great hair genes from what I can tell. Typically when people draw themselves, they make themselves look like more like cool and good looking than they really look. But TimTom is like, nah, I'm fine with being handsome in real life. Make me bald in the thing.
We'd only get it cut once or twice a year, but at that point, it's not really about fashion. It's more like shearing a woolly animal. If you don't get clipped at least once a year, it'll get in your eyes, you'll overheat in the sun, you're vulnerable to predators.
Oh,
So my mom took me to Supercuts. The lady walked me back to her chair and asked what kind of haircut I wanted. In that moment, I had two problems. One, I was scared because an adult had just asked me a question, and to this day, I do not know how to cope with that situation. And two, at that point in my life, I had yet to accumulate much hair-related knowledge. I only knew the name of one hairstyle. It was like I had only unlocked a single dialogue option. My fashion level was too low, so I gave the only answer I was prepared to give. I asked for a bowl cut. I can't decide if that stylist is pure evil or the funniest woman alive, because she didn't question it once. That lady got to work. I came back to the waiting area looking like Vector from Despicable Me. My mom was stunned. There must be some mistake. What have you done to my boy? I was also unprepared for this situation. Would fixing my mistake cost extra? I couldn't risk that. No, mother, I told her. I wanted this.
No!
I never made good choices when it came to my hair as a kid. For some reason, I thought...
Did he not know? He didn't know that the bowl cut looks like a bowl? Listen, I never had nothing like this. Honestly, I had crazy thick hair when I was like 13. It was like this, this is like, that's so funny. This is literally like 2010 Justin Bieber hair. Is it still considered a Justin Bieber haircut if a woman has it? I mean, Rihanna can have whatever hair she wants, obviously, because she's great.
Feel it coming in the air. Hear the screams from everywhere.
My voice is way too gone for me to do a Rihanna impression.
For some reason, I thought a middle part was a good idea. I'm sure some people can pull that off.
That
if you're
helps.
a K-pop star, go nuts. But when I was 8, I was not also a world-famous Korean singer. And at this rate, I may never be. I'm Jay Hopeless. I looked like discount Matt Damon from the 90s. Bad Will Hunting.
Oh man. TimTom, that was good.
I looked like discount Matt Damon from the 90s, Bad Will Hunting.
Matt
They say
Damon.
symmetry is beautiful, but I guess they are a bunch of liars because somehow I still ended up stuck at the bottom of the social ladder. No, it's okay. You guys going up. I'll just stay down here in my bowl cut and clown socks. I looked like that every day for years. And honestly, I feel so
built
betrayed.
character.
My friends, my family, my teachers, every single
one
one of
told
them
him it was
stabbed
stupid.
me in the back.
They didn't tell him how
that
stupid
whole
it was.
time, not a single one made fun of me. It took me years
what
to be
the heck?
properly ashamed of myself. But if even one of my teachers had the courage to bully me or the decency to do it in front of the whole
That's
class,
funny.
that would have made such an important difference in my life. If there
so
are any
funny.
teachers in the audience, please remember that your students are counting on you. If you don't tell them how ugly their tiny bodies are, who will? I could have been spared from
TimTom drops some jokes that no one else does in the animation community. That is so funny. Jokes like that are like why TimTom is one of the goats. Like, who would think of that? I know you couldn't think of something like that, Mr. Laberson. Are you gonna be chill or no? I can't tell.
If you don't tell them how ugly their tiny bodies are, who will? I
Yeah,
could have been
Abby.
spared from what may be the most embarrassing fashion choice of all time. When I was in high school, my friends
they
were the
refused
types of
to
people
help.
to run track, play soccer, do parkour. Running was at the center of it all, which was perfect for me. As luck would have it, puberty had just decided to stretch my legs out like a couple of Laffy Taffies. Now, I don't know if there's a manager around or a number I should call,
want my money
but
back.
I got a few complaints. 1, did you ever consider slowing it down?
Too
Cool your
long.
jets, Turbo. These are leg bones, not bamboo shoots. You pulled my hamstrings tight like you were making a crossbow. Now I can't touch my toes. 2, I got stretch marks all down my thighs because my own skin couldn't keep up. That one's not a
Wow.
joke. That's my life.
Now that is what I call a long leggy boy. You do not have the long legs, Labby. You are not Labby long legs. You are Labby short hands. But you're so sweet. You're 90% body because you're just a little bear. And I think that's cool. Try to deny it all you want. We all know that you're a silly bear.
That one's not a joke. That's my life. And 3, just the legs, huh? Didn't think maybe you should spread the tallness around a bit? What was your thought process? Did you see a Tim Burton film and think of a cool prank? Real mature, puberty.
Wow.
So anyway, I'm super fast. In high school, that became
Cool.
part of my identity. But that's a double-edged sword.
bud.
For one thing, being appreciated for something that's part of who you are gives you a sense of fulfillment. But when something
Yeah.
threatens what you've tangled your identity with, that makes it feel personal, even when it's not. So I identified as a runner, and naturally read a few books about it. In particular,
That's
one
good.
about running barefoot. It said that millions of years of evolution made the human foot good enough on its own. Wearing shoes
Yeah.
was like walking around in a cast. Your muscles will atrophy.
Okay, I do not trust this guy to not make a leap, okay? I don't trust- Ow! I don't trust this guy not to make a leap. Labby goes bananas. Like, he's not super crazy, but he does not cut his nails. Like, bro, you need to start trimming your nails. But he does have incredible climbing abilities, so there is that. Because of-
Running barefoot supposedly strengthens muscles you didn't even know you had. I was
True.
sold. Around that time, I had also been playing a parkour game called Mirror's Edge. The main character wore red split-toe climbing shoes that I thought looked cool. It was a perfect storm that swept me up into the worst fashion choice anyone has ever made.
okay,
I
okay.
bought toe shoes. They make
That's
it feel like you're
fine.
running barefoot with none of the tetanus.
That's
Of course,
fine.
I knew they would turn some heads, but I figured if people were gonna stare anyway, I might as well go all in. I shouldn't be afraid to try something new, so I let Mirror's Edge be my guide. I took a
Cool.
stand. I was brave, and I ordered the brightest red toe shoes I could
Dude,
find.
I support
God
it.
Bless America.
I support it. It's not about fashion, bro. It's about function. TimTom had the right idea. I respect it. Because, yes, toe shoes look dumb. Because as humans, we have just never done that before. So we're not used to it. So it seems weird. But this guy is also very goofy looking and wears toe shoes. But with what he can do, he is insanely cool.
Toe shoes surprised me most in these 3 ways. When I first got them, I could not put them on as easily as I thought I'd be able to. Number 2, I did not expect my feet to be sore, but they were. If you spent most of your life with squishy foot coffins attached to your feet, yeah, a minimalist shoe might hit like a truck at first. Every time you get up and go to the mailbox, it's a foot workout, but eventually your feet adapt and get stronger
True.
like mine.
Exactly.
And lastly, my feet are way more capable now. I was a kid when I used to walk around.
Wow,
when I
that's
chose
so
like this.
cool.
Stay flexy.
Oh man, yeah, this guy's good. I'm sub to that dude. I do not follow most of his lessons. I need to spend more time stretching. But that dude rules and he wears toe shoes. And dude, if you can move like that, that guy, who cares what your fashion choices are? That dude is so cool by virtue of what he can do. That guy is winning. That guy is winning in life.
And I ordered the brightest red toe shoes I could find. God bless America. Soon after, track practice was set to begin. I showed up the first day proudly wearing my spicy new foot gloves. Surely my fellow runners would know all about the latest trend sweeping our nation. The coach singled me out. TimTom, you need running shoes. Well, these are my running shoes. Nope, go change. I was devastated. I had really gone out on a limb to try something new, and being instantly rejected sucked. I had tangled my identity in this without even realizing it, so even though only the shoes were the problem, it felt like I was. But I'm a trooper, you know? I went back to that locker room, changed my shoes, and quit forever.
Yeah! Get him, TimTom. Get him.
Honestly, yeah, if your coach doesn't let you run in those shoes, what kind of a coach are they? Are they a coach or a scumbag?
I've said it before and I'll say it again. I love computers. I'm a little nerd boy, and I've always been fascinated by the idea of hacking. Even before I really knew what that was, it just seemed cool. It was a mysterious world that only a select few understood. But it doesn't need to be mysterious. It's actually a pretty chill place, and I'd like to show you around. But first, a word from our sponsor. All right, so what's a drop I hear you ask? Good question. See this? It could be anything. This, it could be this, it could be this.
That's pretty cool, man.
What is hacking? Most people probably think it's illegal, and to be fair, sometimes it is, but the definition that I like is getting technology to do something that it wasn't originally supposed to do. Sure, that could be something like hacking a bank's computer to give you $1 million. It certainly wasn't supposed to do that, but it could also be jailbreaking your phone, and there's nothing illegal about that, no matter what Apple wants you to believe. So when I was young and fascinated by the idea of computer hacking, I would search the internet for how to hack and read tons of articles and blog posts about how computer systems work and how to break into them. But one time, I made the mistake of trying to share that passion with my sister. All she saw was a big old juicy opportunity to get me in trouble. She was like, "Mom, TimTom's hacking into the government. He's gonna go to prison."
No, don't say that!
Hacking isn't necessarily illegal. It's just about getting computers to do stuff that the original designers never intended.
Yeah, tell it to the judge.
Mom Tom was like, I'm not doing this right now.
Yeah.
Despite my sister's best efforts, I learned so many cool hacking tricks that I was basically Keanu Reeves. The only problem was a ton of the information I found was outdated and super worthless. For example, back in the 90s, when you put a quarter into a payphone, it would play certain tones down the line to tell the phone system that you paid. But if you recorded those tones on something like a tape recorder and played them into the handset, the phone system would think that you paid and let you make calls for free. Neat. But back when I tried it, payphones had switched to digital systems that weren't vulnerable to that hack, and modern payphones don't exist. A lot of the information I found was about how the phone system works, or used to work, which kind of makes sense. Phones were the network that connected everybody's homes and businesses.
And I'm a give a random, stupid Canada fact. Listen, I don't go too out of my way to mention my Canadianism these days, but one thing I will say, if you want to know the history of phones, you know who invented the first one? Alexander Graham Bell, Canadian. We all have to learn his name in school.
Phones were the network that connected everybody's homes and businesses before the internet was a thing, and phone hacking, or freaking, as the cool kids called it, used to be a big part of being a hacker.
Why isn't it called
My favorite thing that I learned from my freaking days almost did get me in trouble with the police. Basically, I learned how those old rotary phones worked, and I figured out that I could dial a phone number by just taking the phone off the hook a bunch of times.
I was gonna say, why is phone hacking called freaking? And if you're combining phone and hacking, and then I realized, I guess I probably can't say that on my channel. So never mind, I guess I know why they don't call it what I think it should sound like.
That I could dial a phone number by just taking the phone off the hook a bunch of times in the right pattern. Kind of like Morse code. I thought the idea of dialing a phone number without pressing any buttons was neat, but I also didn't expect it to work. So I used that trick to dial the first phone number I could think of. 911. Once the phone started ringing, my heart sank and I hung up, but it was too late. The police had already traced the call. The cops showed up to my house like 30 minutes later, and I was just like, whoa, gee willikers. Well, I sure didn't dial 911. Yep, I didn't press any buttons at all.
Goofy.
And I got away with it, like a totally elite hacker. Now, I don't think movies are responsible for my fascination with computers or hacking, but they definitely fueled that flame. My favorite movie of all time is Hackers, a movie that came out when I was a baby.
Wow.
There's a scene in the movie where one of the characters uses that phone hook trick to call someone, and a different scene where he uses the tape recorder trick to use a payphone for free. Most of the hacking in the movie is unrealistic and just looks cool. But there's tons of parts where the characters use actual hacks, and the movie doesn't call attention to it, they just do it like it's no big deal. When I first saw that, I was ecstatic, like that would actually work, or at least it would have back in the day. Nowadays, hacking doesn't revolve around the phone system nearly as much, and as I've gotten older, I'm usually less interested in breaking stuff. But I still think that mentality is a great way to look at the world. Instead of accepting things as they are or as they were intended to be, approaching everything with a little bit of mischief just makes life more interesting.
Wow. Well, as long as TimTom doesn't use that approach regarding laws, then we're okay. You can live life on creative mode if you want to, as long as it's within the confines of the law. Okay, creative mode it is.
I have a really distinct memory of the first time I saw Kiki's Delivery Service, which is a great movie, and since you like my channel, obviously you have great taste and I'm sure that you'll love it, but that's beside the point. Cool. It was a lazy Sunday afternoon. The sun was shining, birds were singing, and if you listened closely, you could hear the distant sound of someone wasting their time mowing their lawn. I should have been completely relaxed and enjoying life, but there was just one problem. I had an essay due Monday. The weekend was drawing to a close and my stress level was rising, so I did what any reasonable person would do in a situation like that. I grabbed my backpack, and moved off the couch so I could sit down and watch TV. Instead of confronting the thing that was stressing me out, I distracted myself with whatever was playing. As I watched the movie, I got progressively more stressed out. I'm burning daylight, why don't I just go get it done? I became unbearably uncomfortable with a lump in my throat and tension in every muscle.
He became unbumpterable, okay? Speaking of unbumpterable, or actually speaking of very bumpterable, guys, this is the first video I'm doing with this new foam up. What do you think? I'm 1,000 miles away, but girl, tonight you look so pretty. You can see my whole body. Check this out. See, I can never get away with secretly wearing a skirt in my videos anymore. I'm just kidding. I didn't do that. But yeah, remember when I used to be able to do cool stuff? You guys see how much better my shadow boxing is than back in 2020? How embarrassing. I actually thought I knew what I was doing.
I became unbearably uncomfortable with a lump in my throat and tension in every muscle. No matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't relax. The longer I waited, the more I was paralyzed by stress, and the more I needed to focus on something else to try and stop myself from freaking out. From the outside, I was just watching a movie, intently. Now, this was a long time ago, so I don't actually remember if I got that essay done on time, but knowing me, probably not. I was a chronic procrastinator in school. Teachers always told me that I needed to manage my time better, schedule specific times to do things, set deadlines. I tried. I really tried. But none of that advice ever helped, and all through high school, I always ended up doing things last minute. So not only was I super stressed out all the time, I started to feel pretty crappy about myself. Like, dang, why can't I just get it together? After a while, you just feel like a failure. And I'm not the only one.
Wait a minute. Is this going where I think it's going? Are we going into the world of the ADHD? Do I have to get into mental disorder Robert mode? Even though I guess that's technically what I always am.
After a while, you just feel like a failure. And I'm not the only one. There are so many videos about procrastination, and some of them even try to give advice. The problem is, so much of that advice is completely worthless. It usually boils down to what my teachers told me. You're just not managing your time effectively.
No, I had ADHD!
Procrastination wasn't about managing time at all. Procrastination is about managing emotions. Hold on. Oh, okay. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I just blew my mind.
That makes sense.
Okay, I know that might sound a little wild at first, but I promise it's true. When I think back to every time that I've procrastinated, it's been something pretty important. And the funny thing is, the more important it is, the more I care about doing a good job, and the more likely I've been to put it off. What's really happening is that the more important something is, the more afraid I am of messing it up, and you can't mess something up if you're not doing it. So the more I wait, the less time I have to work, which means I'm even less likely to do a good job.
Oh my gosh, very toxic, awful mindset. But I used to have it in university. You know, one thing that actually helps a lot with stuff like that, because guys, to this day, I still get these kind of things with posting videos. The bigger the video is, the more likely I am to put it off. I actually have an extremely important video that I'm working on right now, but I'm like nervous about not doing it right because it requires a lot of voice acting. I'm not confident in my voice acting anything yet. So I've been putting off recording it, and I really need to. I'm procrastinating it because of my perfectionism. You know, one thing that I do think helps a lot with these kinds of things, when it's like anxiety related, exercise really hard, and your body will just like kick out all of the stress and anxiety. I know that sounds like a very easy solution. Obviously it doesn't solve all your problems, but I'm telling you, if you exercise really hard, you will feel so much less stressed about the things you're not doing. Like, for real.
Don't look at me like that.
Which means I'm even less likely to do a good job. Do you see? Do you see the vicious cycle? It's all there.
Yeah.
But it's not always a fear of failure. Sometimes it's just a lack of clarity. When you've got a big project to do, the first step isn't always obvious.
Yeah, and the first cut is the deepest.
So there's lots of uncertainty looming over you. In that case, it's really a fear of the unknown that's stopping you. In either case, there's a strong emotion that's demanding to be dealt with, and the way I think a lot of people deal with it is to distract themselves. It's so much easier to just do something comfortable.
Yeah.
Like watch Kiki's delivery service.
Yeah.
Another one of
Or
my
Robert
favorite
IDK.
strategies is something I like to call lie to myself.
Shout out to anyone who watches RobertIDK or puts me on in the background while you study. If you do homework or study and have me on in the background, I think that's lit. That's also part of why I try to make my videos so long, because it's ill to put on in the background. Some of these long videos you can honestly fall asleep to if you really want to, you know, just put the phone face down, whatever.
But yeah, either way, I hope that I help you get things done.
It used to be laundry. I used to always say, yeah, put my stuff on while you're doing laundry. And people would remember that when they're folding laundry, oh yeah, I need to watch RobertIDK. Shout out to the laundry club from way back in the day. Now I would never ask to see the laundry. I don't need to see that.
Lie to myself. Which is a pretty neat trick. Watch this. Let's say that it's Friday after school. I have a big project due on Monday, but I just worked hard all day, and I don't really have the energy to work on it right now. I'll get started tomorrow. See what I did there?
Wow.
I lied to myself. I was kind of stressed about the project, and naturally I needed to manage that emotion, so I made something resembling a plan. That made me feel like I was in control, and it reduced my stress. Mission accomplished. But like, I don't have a history of making effective plans for the future, and the next morning my friend is gonna call me and we're gonna go climb on some rooftops downtown. I should know by now that my plans will not survive a call from Gary. A better plan would have
a call from Gary, but sometimes when you have nothing else to do, you need to call your best friend Gary. He can help. Calling Gary can help. That's particularly what I do when I'm easily spooked and everything's scary. I'll either torture myself with YouTube videos or I'll call my best friend Gary.
What do you do when you're easily spooked and everything is scary? Torture yourself with clips from YouTube or call your best friend Gary. So grab some popcorn and just enjoy the ride, because RobertIDK's a wimp.
If you haven't seen that series, just type in RobertIDK, I am a wimp, and you have just unlocked like 60 funny RobertIDK scary video reactions. You're welcome.
Plans will not survive a call from Gary. A better plan would have accounted for that. So to recap, most people think that procrastination is about managing time when it's actually about managing your emotions. This leads to putting effort into fixing the wrong things and getting nowhere. Meanwhile, they manage their emotions with ineffective strategies like distraction. Things don't improve and the cycle repeats itself. Now that we know what the real problem is, let's talk about how to deal with it. Managing your emotions effectively is something that probably takes a lifetime to master, so don't beat yourself up when you fail. It's still gonna happen, and that's okay. I think the first step to stopping procrastination is just to recognize when you're distracting yourself, which is surprisingly hard because the whole point of distracting yourself is to stop thinking about the thing that you're supposed to be thinking about. But every now and again, while you're watching a video or playing a game, you might have a moment of realization. Wow, I should really get to work. In that moment, you have two options. Either you can say, maybe just one more video, or you can close the tab and actually get to work. If you choose to continue to distract yourself, who knows how long it'll be until you have another chance to break free. Those moments are incredibly important, and if you want to stop procrastinating, that's when it needs to happen. We all know how often one more video has turned into 5 and then 10 more, so take it from me. Don't lie to yourself. There's no such thing as just one more.
Okay, I'm sorry. TimTom, can you stop referencing my old videos?
There's no such thing as just one more.
Just one more video and then I'll go.
Yeah, it was never just one more. It was never just one more, Robert!
Don't lie to yourself. There's no such thing as just one more. And if you can do that, you're halfway there. Once you've stopped distracting yourself, you might notice that you're pretty anxious about whatever it is you need to do. And if you're anything like me, you'll reflexively reach for some other distraction.
Genesis.
You don't need to. Just take a moment and breathe. Anxiety isn't fun, but distracting yourself just delays it. To make it go away, you need to do something to gain control. Take a moment to think about what specifically needs to be done and break it down into small pieces. If you can put together a really clear plan of action, some of that anxiety might start to fade. You might still be intimidated by the idea of getting started. So maybe step 1 is just to get your notebook out. That's it, you don't need to write anything. But maybe, once you realize that wasn't so bad, you could open the notebook. Once you have a plan, don't think about the future. Don't worry about all the steps to come, just focus on the present moment. What do you need to do this very second? Nothing else exists. Clear your mind and pick up the pen.
The present moment is all that matters. TimTom is spitting with this. I know that nowadays, like, being present is a bit more of a popular thing to talk about, but I think a lot of kids still aren't taught this. I think when you're a kid, you don't really think about mental health. It doesn't really start becoming a thing that you consciously think of. Anyways, the point being, you may spend a lot of time worrying about the future. You might spend a lot of time worrying about the past. You know what doing that does? Nothing! The past is stupid, the future is stupid. Right now is awesome. And if you're watching this video in the future, right now for you is right now, and right now is awesome. Let me know in the comments. If you're watching this video in the future, tell me what you're doing today, okay? But the future is coming up in about 30 seconds. And the future involves you clicking on the next video. What video are you watching in the immediate future? Is it watching the TimTom videos? Make sure you have seen the TimTom videos. They are so important. You need to watch all the TimTom videos. They're so good. Here's a random spooky video I think you should check out. If you haven't seen my spooky videos before, you might actually really enjoy them and then watch every single one of them. I think you should do that. Yeah. Here's TimTom's channel. Make sure you subscribe to TimTom. TimTom's the best. I really like him. I hope he comes back soon. TimTom, come back! Come back!